Howdy, my name is Jennifer Bronson. I'm a student at Cascadia Community College. I'm studying to be a web designer and a programmer, and I'm here to tell you about my identity and how my identity affects my communication in the workplace. In order to really convey this to you, I'm going to be talking about my background, my experiences, my activities, and other influences that have shaped my identity, and then I'll explain to you how my identity affects my interactions at work. When I started thinking about my identity, I came up with an artifact and an activity that helped to shape my identity. My artifact is a computer because it helps to make me think of myself as a techie person, and it pretty much follows that my activity would be computer programming. When I think of my cultural background, I think about where my family members have come from. And they've come from England and Ireland. They've come from Czechoslovakia, which was then occupied by Germany. And there's a little bit of Native American in there, and they all came over to Texas. And so my background are people that are willing to fight and willing to leave any condition that they're in to start a better life. They're willing to take risks. They identify with strength. Anybody who's willing to do that has to have a lot of personal strength. And I see how that cultural background plays into my personal identity as of being a very strong individual. I also grew up in the military family. My grandfather was in the military. He was in the Air Force. My father was in the military. My husband was in the military. And this meant moving all over, moving up to Washington, D.C., to New York. We moved down to the Mississippi area, back to Texas. My husband was stationed in Hawaii, so we moved there, moved to California, moved to Oregon, moved to Washington. So there's this culture, this underlying culture of personal strength that makes you capable of changing your condition, giving up whatever you needed to make things go right and live as a family, keep your families together. And I definitely see that strength in myself. When I think of my social identity, I definitely think American middle class. I also think of Weird Al's music video, White and Nerdy. So if you haven't seen that music video, definitely take a moment to look it up on YouTube, because I definitely feel that it pretty well conveys how I see myself. I think my personal background helped shape me and my identity more than anything else. I grew up predominantly in Texas. I became a big Star Trek fan. I always made good grades, and I excelled at anything that I put my heart into, which was a lot of art and IT stuff. I became a mother and traveled and took care of my young children while my husband was deployed overseas. I homeschooled my daughter and taught her to multiply at age 4. These things helped me identify myself and see myself as strong, capable, independent, a real Texan with Southern friendliness and pride, intelligent and competitive, a techie and a Trekkie. Yes, pretend you're not just browsing. Personal and professional experiences have also shaped my identity. Anytime I would compete and receive accolades for something, I would definitely be driven to do more of whatever that was. So I ended up doing a lot of artistic and technology-related activities. Also, odd jobs as an administrative assistant helped to shape my identity. I would take on unusual jobs like installing equipment or running security and phone systems that normal admins would not do. And this helped shape how I saw myself and what I realized my capabilities as being. Designing websites and computer programming are both things that help to shape my identity. Since they are things that not everybody can do, only about 1% of people can do them, and since they require intelligence and training, those feed into my identity as unique capabilities. I think accolades shape everybody's individual identity. Joining different clubs and organizations definitely feed into my identity. But something else is also literature. Literature helps me to define myself as well as those around me so that I can see myself as the same as or distinct from them. I can definitely see how my self-concept affects how I interact with people in the workplace. I definitely greet people very eagerly with a firm handshake, and I think that's from my self-image as being a strong individual from growing up in Texas and in America in general. I'm open and I'm friendly. I think that's a very much a Southern trait. I am eager to voice my ideas as well as be attentive and listen to other people, and I think that's from my self-image as being an intelligent individual and a competitive individual, so I definitely want to be on the ball with whatever's happening around me. I also see how my body language conveys that I feel strong about myself and I'm comfortable and I believe in my own strength. And I've noticed how I do sit in a power position when people are sitting around a table, which is something I had never noticed or comprehended before. So I definitely see how my self-image and my self-concept affects how I interact with other people in the workplace.